Hey, this is Tony with Salt Strong, and in this video I wanted to answer a question that came in regarding when to use a circle hook versus a J hook when you're fishing with live bait or cut bait or dead bait. And I want to keep it as simple as possible, and what it really comes down to is how you're actually fishing your live baits or your dead baits. Are you actively fishing them or are you passively fishing them? And what I mean by that is, do you have the rod in your hand while you're fishing a live bait, or do you just set it in a rod holder? And when you're actively fishing a live bait, what you should be doing is letting that bait swim naturally. So when you cast it out, keep your bail open and just feed line as that bait swims out, or as the current starts taking your bait. Feed line off of your spool, let that bait swim naturally, let that dead bait or cut bait drift naturally with the current down to your target location. And when it comes to passively fishing, you just cast your bait out to a spot where you know there's fish at, and then you just set it in the rod holder. So when you are actively fishing, I highly recommend using a J hook, because what's going to happen when you're actively fishing, just like if you're fishing with an artificial lures, you're using J hooks, because when you feel that strike, you want to be able to set the hook. That's going to be your natural reaction when you get a strike, because you have that rod in your hand, you feel the bite, natural response is to set the hook. If you're using a circle hook, in that situation, naturally you're going to want to set the hook when you feel the strike, and what you're going to do with a circle hook is pull that hook right out of the fish's mouth, because you're not supposed to set the hook with a circle hook. You're only supposed to do that with a J hook. Now, when you are passively fishing live or cut baits, and what I mean by that is when you set the rod in the rod holder, you cast your bait out to a specific spot, that's when I go with circle hooks, because you do not need to set the hook when you're using a circle hook, and you should not try to set the hook when you're using a circle hook. You can cast that bait out, fish grabs your bait, starts swimming off with it. That tension on your line pulling on the hook is naturally going to hook the fish. So I wouldn't do that with J hooks, because you can risk actually hooking the fish further back deep into the throat, or possibly into their gut when you do use a J hook, or you may just miss the fish completely because that hook will just slide out of the fish's mouth. So definitely go with the circle hook if you are passively fishing live or dead or cut baits. And this is especially true if you're fishing with people that are very inexperienced, or smaller children where they can't actively fish live baits like some other people that are a little bit more experienced. So again, actively fishing, rod is in your hand, you're letting line out, you're reeling it in a little bit, you are actively fishing your live bait, go with a J hook. And if you're fishing with people who are a little bit inexperienced, perhaps smaller children, or it's somebody's first time out, and you are passively fishing with live or dead baits, sitting the rod in the rod holder, waiting for a bite, I would go with a circle hook. So if you have any questions or comments, definitely leave them down below. Also, we'd like to know your feedback on when you prefer to use a circle hook versus a J hook, so definitely let us know down below. Also, if you want to catch more fish with live bait, I highly recommend checking out our underwater live bait forensics course, where we show actual underwater footage of different types of bait fish, anything from mullet, shrimp, pinfish, croakers, pigfish, all different sorts of live bait, how they're rigged and how they look underwater under different conditions, so you can get a better understanding of how your bait looks, so you can present it properly to those fish and start catching more fish. So definitely check that out.
If you are new to Salt Strong, we are the largest online fishing club for saltwater anglers, and we guarantee you two things. Number one, you'll start catching more fish in less time. And number two, you will save a ton of money on your favorite tackle and gear with discounts available exclusively for our members. To learn more, go to saltstrong.com, and we'll see you there.
There's something about the water that'll give you peace, all by yourself or with your family. Live Salt Strong and wear the line today.